Okay, this is presentation 3 now. Presentation 2, you were with Heather Thalheimer, going through the checklist. And I didn't mean to leave you hanging at the end of presentation 1 where I said rituals have a place. And there's just too much content, to explore everything in these videos. But the main point is that things like holy days, candles, offering tables, if they are done right, if they're done with the right heart, they're part of our worship, and the culture is okay with that. Young adult culture is okay with that. So I wanted to just mention that. Presentation 3, how to empower the mind. Empower is the element of ministry that supports spiritual growth through education. And we have Middleburg. Now, Mark Middleburg, I referred to his values a few times. He's the director of evangelism at Willow Creek Church. He wrote a great book called Building a Contagious Church. And he said there's certain values that go into creating a church that really works. And one of them is that people need answers. People need answers. That means people have minds and they have questions. We need to answer those questions. And in order to do so, though, we need to, our answer is the divine principle. It's in the divine principle. We need to stand by the divine principle, and 4 points. We need to declare it, we need to define it, we need to defend it, and we need to dumb it down. We need to make it simple. Even with the finest theology, if one doesn't know how to use it to answer people's questions, it doesn't have any value. The most successful unification evangelism in America proves this point. The presentations were simple, laced with humor, and it was called conscientious common sense. It talked about the truth being something that's universal. It holds for all types of people. It's understandable, it's practical, and it's useful. This is what works in America in terms of empowering the mind. What are the questions? In order to give answers, we have to know what are the questions. You might answer questions that people aren't asking. What are the questions that members and visitors have? Members and visitors have this simple basic questions. Does God really exist? Why is there so much evil in the world? What's the purpose of my life? Why am I so unhappy? How can I have better relationships, etc.? Why did my boyfriend leave me? These are the same questions that drove the teenage Sun Myung-moon to God and Jesus. And his ministry is one of answering those questions. When he answered those questions, he wrote up a book, Wali Kongrang, Divine Principle. Read Between Fear and Inspiration in Peace-Loving Global Citizen, Father's autobiography. He talks about all the questions that he had. Everybody has these questions. Every worship service needs to deliver the answer. We've got to deliver the answer to these questions. Worship is the primary event in which the message, the gospel, the good news, the breaking news is conveyed. Without conveying the message, worship is not complete. The preacher packs the essence of faith, of the message, into the sermon. And what is that essence? What is that essence? It is to convey what God has done for humankind in a way that I can relate to. It should reveal in a fresh way how much God loves us, has sacrificed for us, is working in our lives and in the world, and has a plan for each of our lives. Presented in a way that makes people grateful, repentant, and want to give something back to God. So to unpack it, the message has 4 things. 1, the ideal that I agree with. That tells me what God has done for me. 2, the problem that I deal with. That tells me what blocks me from receiving what God has done for me. 3, the solution that I understand. This tells me how to remove that block. And number 4, the invitation that reaches my conscience. It reveals my responsibility to do it and do it freely, and gives me the opportunity to do so. So in Christian churches everywhere, a great sermon has these 4 elements. And I want to just give the example of Rick Warren. at the end of the first section of Purpose-Driven Life, and that section is called Worship. He invites people to receive Jesus and be baptized. He writes, "Wherever you are reading this, I invite you to bow your head and quietly whisper the prayer that will change your eternity. Jesus, I believe in you and I receive you. Go ahead. If you sincerely meant that prayer, congratulations, welcome to the family of God." What is our message? How do we encapsulate this story, this drama, this thing that works for human psychology because it's part of the principle that is encapsulated in the breaking news? And that's the subject of the next presentation.